you make that beer, you distill it, but because it's a hybrid still, it runs once, or do you?
No, it's a single production. We have 3-plate column on top of the pot still, and then we can open and close the plates depending on what kind of production we're going to do. If we're doing a very earthy, robust whiskey, then we're opening that wide up and not using the plates at all. And for this, we'll close it down somewhat and get a more refined spirit. But it is one run from mash to the finished spirit in one run.
And this is reduced down a bit?
This is to 80 proof.
All right, so then you're using some water nearby?
We do. Actually, our water source is very good. It is a municipal water source. They have a reservoir on the mountains, and then they do add chlorine, so we have to filter the chlorine out. We don't want that flavor. But the minerals are good. There's no iron. It's a very good source of water for what we do. And it's the water we use for mashing. It's the water we also top off with in the bottles. Okay. So.
And of course now we need to talk about this one.
Yes, the Roundstone Rye.
And for the maturation, what are we dealing with?
So we use
barrels, big ones?
Exclusively 30-gallon barrels. So we have a half-size barrel, and that's all that we use. It's a Minnesota white oak, and usually a medium char inside. And we will mature in those barrels for this product for 6 months. Okay. And it's a relatively young whiskey. A youthful whiskey, you know, that was common around the time of Prohibition and this kind of thing.
But you must be keeping some also
of course, on the side. Of course, yeah. So we a lot of different, you know, distilleries, as they start, they have different ways to, you know, to make their living. What we decided was to produce a spirit, although it's young, that tastes very nice and works really well. And we worked very hard on cocktail programs in restaurants, and it's a very nice whiskey for that, and we get a lot of use out of that. But then also, we didn't source another distiller's whiskey and then bottle it. We didn't really want to do that. We really just want to make it. So as we've been making it, we put a little bit aside from time to time. When that comes out, it'll be a different product. This product will always be a youthful, very light style of whiskey.
I think we should have a taste of this.
Absolutely.
And why Roundstone?
So the name Roundstone is actually the name of a town, a fishing village in the Connemara in the western coast of Ireland. And we had a lovely experience there as a family. And this sort of pays homage to two things. It pays homage to the fact that, you know, our family has some great Irish history. And it also pays homage to the fact that it's very much like an Irish whiskey, except that it's rye, not barley. So the type of distillation we're getting from the German equipment is very much like a triple distillation you'd get from a traditional Irish whiskey. So
very fruity.
Yeah.
And that's only 6 months in the barrel.
That's right. We don't put anything in it. It's just the barrel. And we get those hot Virginia summers, and it drives a lot of whiskey in and out of that wood. So.
There's a spiciness.
Yep. Yeah.
But it remains very, very fruity.
Yeah, and it's you know, quite smooth. It does really, really well in cocktails. I mean, many people drink it neat like this, but I actually love it in a Manhattan. It's a gorgeous Manhattan with a little Carpano vermouth and maybe some bitters, and it's just lovely. So we mix it all the time now. It's no crime. We love to do that at home. We do it all the time.
What you keep, what you don't bottle, do you keep in the same 30-gallon capacity barrels or in larger ones?
We have different barrels, so we experiment. You know, I like to think of it like in my old technology days as an R&D development. So we'll play around, experiment. We have some wine casks, we have some larger whiskey casks, and so we play around with stuff.
Yeah. But no bourbon.
No bourbon. So we don't do bourbon. So the reason we choose to do rye, first and foremost, was because of the history of Virginia. And bourbon really doesn't play a history in Virginia until much, much, much later, you know, after Prohibition. And, you know, we have people now doing corn whiskeys in Virginia, but not before. So we like that rye history. Plus, of course, you know, rye is having a great surge of interest. So that, you know, is wonderful for us right now. And we love the flavor. So we decided early on to do, you know, one or two things and then try to do those really, really well. And so we probably will never release a bourbon. I say that, you know, you never know what the future holds, but I think for now we're very happy with the rye.
What about rum? What about brandy?
Yeah, so no rum. We don't do any rum, but we do brandy. And brandy for us is a seasonal product that we'll do. Our very first spirit, actually, that we ever distilled on our equipment was pear brandy.
Huh.
And so we have local pears. We the first year put out about 400 bottles of pear brandy. That was it. We only had a small batch that we were able to run through, one single barrel, and that was the end of it. And then the second year we did another 400, and this year we'll have 1,000 bottles of pear brandy. We call it Perugia, and it's a lovely, 100% pear. There's Bartlett and Bosc that we use for that. We make a wine, we ferment it, and then we put it into the still and distill it. It's actually a collaboration that we do with a local winery that makes the wine for us, and then we share the spirit. So they'll take half of the spirit and they'll fortify their pear wine to make a pear port or sherry or whatever you call it, and then we'll take the other half and barrel age it and then produce a brandy at about 80 proof.
And no peach, no...
So no, but we have others, yeah. So we've done peach now. This year was our first year to do peach. And again, peaches are local from Bluemont, which is about 10 miles west of us on the mountain. And that is really, really turning out lovely. It was a really fun spirit to do. We've now got one barrel of that, so that's about 400 bottles. And it's in the cask, and now my job is to taste it every week to see, is it ready yet? Not yet. Is it ready yet? Not yet. And it's a tough job. But
that could last for a few years.
We'll see. If it runs out, then yeah. And then we also did a great amount of grape brandy. And so from our very beginning, we had intended to do grape brandy. There's over 30 wineries in our county now, and great source of grapes. And so we have done, ever since we started, we've been putting brandy in the barrel. And now this year will be the first year that we release some 2-year-old brandy. It is a Seyval Blanc, a Chambourcin, and a Norton, mix of the three. The Seyval provides a great body and a great, flavor. The Chambourcin provides some wonderful aroma in the nose. And the Norton actually contributes not much flavor, but a great floral bouquet. That's kind of unusual. So we're really excited. It's aging in 55-gallon French Bordeaux wine barrels that were used for red wine once. And so we use, almost like the Scots will do with the sherry casks, we're using the red wine to impart some character into that brandy. So very excited. That brandy is called 1757, which is the year that Loudoun County was established. So we'll look for that in the October timeframe. So very nice, very exciting.
2012. You know what to look for.
That's right.
And then what else that you're not telling us now, but...
So we have, the other thing that we're working on is a cask-proof version of this that we'll put out at about 118 proof. And it's lovely stuff as well. So rich and flavorful. And
well, there's a lot of excitement in Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia, Washington, Maryland, that's our home market. And it's a great area. Washington, D.C. is a great drinking town. Lots and lots of cocktail bars and a great scene to be in. It's not too far. We can drive down in an hour.
And here we are in New York City working way too hard. I mean, some of us. Well, it's a good thing that you're present in New York now, and we'll be looking forward to these other products. Made with love.
Yes.
By yourself and
Becky, yep, that's right.
And now if people want to visit you, can they?
Yep.